In today's video lecture, we'll be learning about simple LR parsing. In short, it is called as SLR parsing. This is also called as LR0 of parsing. So SLR parsing or simple LR parsing is one of the bottom-up parsing techniques. Now we will step inside LR parsing today. Now let us take a grammar which has E tends to E plus T, E tends to T, T tends to T star F, and T tends to F, and F tends to E, and F tends to ID. Now first step we have to do here is actually we have to generate an augmented grammar. So what is augmented grammar? We will take a starting symbol is called as E, then we will push this E on the right side and we introduce a new production called as E dash. Now augmented grammar will be like this. So E dash tends to dot E. Now you can see here a dot is before E here. Since dot is before a non-terminal E, introduce all the productions of E. So E tends to E plus T and E tends to T. Now in E tends to T, dot is before T. So introduce all the productions of T. So T tends to T star F and T tends to dot F has been introduced. Then dot is before F here. Introduce all the productions of F. F tends to E and F tends to ID has been introduced. So this operation is called as closure operation. Whenever a dot is actually preceding a non-terminal, then the corresponding productions of the non-terminal has to be included. So this is called as augmented grammar. So we will name this item set as item set 0. Now the intention of SLR parsing is we have to process this dot. We should move on this dot to the right side till the end of the production. That means when you place this dot at the production, after dot there should not be any other terminal or non-terminal. So that means we have to place this dot on the right end of the production. So we should continue this in an iterative process. We should continue this till we attain this dot at the end of the production. Now when we take up this I0, in I0 you can see here dot is before E. Okay, so we will just process this goto of I0 comma E. Goto of dot is before E here. So goto of I0 comma E. So when we process goto of I0 comma E, now it will become now I dash E dash tends to E dot and E dash tends to E dot plus T. Now we will take up the third production E tends to T, and fourth production also dot is before T. Now E tends to dot T. Now we have to use goto of I0 comma T. So goto of I0 comma T will be having E tends to T dot and E tends to T dot star F. Now we will go for the fifth production, T tends to F. Now we will name this first set as item set 1 and item set 2. All these are called as canonical LR items. Now T tends to F. Now it will be made as goto of I0 comma F. Goto of I0 comma F will be made as T tends to F dot. Now the fourth one, the sixth production, open brackets is before E here. So we have to process that. Goto of I0 comma open brackets. So goto of I0 comma open brackets will be resulting in this production. Since a dot is before E productions has to be introduced, and dot is before T productions has to be introduced, and dot is before F productions has to be introduced. This is called as a closure operation. So we will name this as item set 4. And the final of in item set 0 is F tends to dot ID. So when we do that, goto of I0 comma ID will be made as F tends to ID dot. Now there is no other item sets in item set 0 where dot has to be processed. Now we will go for item set 1. In item set 1, when you take the first production it is E dash tends to E dot. First production is E dash tends to E dot, so no need to process that. Now when we take second production, dot is before plus here. So we have to perform goto of I0 comma plus. So goto of I0 comma plus is goto of I0 comma plus is here. It is E tends to E plus dot T. Since dot is before T, introduce all T productions. So T first production and T second production has been introduced. Now the dot is before F here. Now F productions are introduced, F of E and F tends to ID. So name this item set as item set 6. Now when we come to item set 2, there is no need to process the first item set because dot is at the end. Dot is at the end. Now we have to process this item set where dot is before star. So go to of item set 2 comma star. So go to of item set 2 comma star will be resulting here. So item set 2 comma star is actually resulting in T tends to T star F and F tends to E and ID. Name this as item set 7. So when we come to I4, a dot is before E, so we will process I4 comma E. So I4 comma E tends to F tends to E dot close brackets and E tends to E dot plus T. So we will name this as item set 8. Now when we come to the second one, E tends to dot T and E tends to dot T, T star F. Now this has to be processed. Now this is item set 4. In item set 4, when we do that, it will be repeating now because you will get an answer called as E tends to T dot. Okay, so E tends to T dot and T tends to T dot star F. Okay, so that is nothing but it is item set 2. It is item set 2 because we get the same production called as in item set 2, we are getting the same production. So that's why it has been named as item set 2 here. So I name this as item set 2 here. No need to repeat it again. Now when we coming to go I4 comma F, dot is before F. Now when we do that, we will get T tends to F dot. So T tends to F dot is already available in item set 3. So go to of I4 comma F will be resulting in item set 3. When we go for the next production called as F tends to and I4, F tends to E here. F tends to open brackets. So this one F tends to open brackets I4. Now it will result in I4 itself. And when you go for the final one, F tends to dot ID, it will be making as I5. So it will be resulting in I5. F tends to ID dot. So it will be resulting in I5. Now no need to process I5 because already dot is at the end. Now we have to process I6. I6 dot is before T. When we do that, it will become E tends to E plus T dot and T tends to dot T dot star F. Now again when in I6 when your dot is before F, F has to be processed. So T tends to F dot and T tends to F dot will be resulting in I3. It's not I5, it is I3. So I will write it here as I3. So it is I3. Now we will go for the next one. F tends to open brackets, go to of I6 comma open brackets will be resulting in I4. And F tends to ID, go to of I6 comma ID will be resulting in I5. So now going for I7, dot is before F, we have to process that. When we process that, it will become T tends to T star F dot. So this is a new item set, we will name it as item set 10. And in I7, when we process open brackets, I7 comma open brackets, it will be I4 and I7 comma ID will be resulting in I5. It is actually repeating. We are getting the repeated item sets. Now I have, for convenience, I have put it here. Now I8, and I8 you have close brackets. Dot is before a close bracket. We have to process that. So go to of I8 comma close brackets will be resulting in F tends to E dot. So that is I11. And when you process I4 comma plus, it is already there. I8 comma plus. I8 comma plus will be resulting in I6. Now I9 comma star will be resulting in I7. And since there is no need to process this one because first one, this one no need to process because dot is at the end. No need to take this production. Dot is at the end. Now we'll go for I10. I10, no need to process because dot is at the end, we can skip it. And again, when we go for I11 also dot is at the end, no need to process. Okay. So, and these are the first and follow for the respective non-terminals. We have the respective non-terminals which has been identified here. So now, after identifying this first and follow, and we have to name this production number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 according to the order it has been given. Now, the way of constructing a parsing table, we have to come across three major steps. The first is find all the terminals in canonical LR items, then process all the non-terminals in canonical LR items, and the third one is process all the productions in which dot is at the end of the production. If dot is at the end of the production, then we have to take the follow values, and in that you have to fill the corresponding values. Now, when you fill it up, now for convenience I have put all this items as canonical LR items here. Now we will go for in a step-by-step fashion how to do this. So now when we try to fill it up, so first step, you write in row wise, you have to write all the canonical LR items. So a canonical LR item spans from 0 to 11. So now in the left side you have only terminals spanning from plus star up to dollar. On the right side on the columns you have only non-terminals E, T and F. Okay. Now whenever we are finding a go-to for a terminal, then the corresponding item set, if it goes to I3, it should be written as S3. If it goes to I4, it should be written as S4. In case, if you are finding the go-to for a non-terminal, if it goes to I1, it has to be simply written as 1. If it goes to I2, it has to be simply written as 2. Okay, so there is a small change. So S means it is called as shift. S is called as shift here. Okay. So, and in case, if there is a production where dot is at the end, then we have to see the corresponding follow for the corresponding non-terminal, then fill the corresponding production number in the respective columns of the follow sets values. So that's how actually it proceeds. Now we'll take up the first row in item set 0. In item set 0, we have S4 and S5 and we are having 1, 2 and 3. Now see here how to fill this. Now go to item set 0. In item set 0, you have E as a non-terminal, it goes to I1, and when we have T as a non-terminal, it goes to I2, and we have F as a non-terminal, we go I3. And in item set 0, we have open brackets, that is a terminal, and we have ID, that is also terminal, we go to I5. So open brackets and ID are terminal. So in open brackets and ID, in open brackets goes to I4, so write it as S4, and in I5 you write it as, for ID you have to write it as S5, and for items at 1, 2 and 3, okay, it goes to items at 1, 2 and 3. For E, T and F you have to write it as 1, 2, 3. So that's what it has been read. So see, go to of I0 comma E, I0 comma T and I0 comma F goes to items at 1, 2 and 3. So it has been written as 1, 2 and 3 because since it's a non-terminal. And for terminals, you can see here, for I0 comma open bracket it goes to I4 and I0 comma ID it goes to I5. So it has to be written as, in open brackets, it has been written as S4, I4 is written as S4, and for ID it goes to I5, so it is written as S5. So on and so forth. Now, when we take items at 0, there is not any production where dot is at the end. So there are 7 productions here. None of the productions has dot at the end. So we can skip it off. Now we come to item set 1. In item set 1, we can see here, we will just see first item set 1. What we are, item set 1 has a go to for a terminal called as plus. So it goes to I6. So in item set 1, in plus, you write it as I6 has been written as S6 here. And in item set 1, there is not any non-terminal for go-tos here. So now in item set 1, we have to see whether the dot is at the end. So dot is at the end for what? This production is called as a E dash tends to E dot. But this grammar is not a regular original grammar because this is an introduced grammar. E dash grammar is an introduced grammar. So E dash tends to E dot. If this is an augmented grammar or newly introduced grammar, in that case, in item set 1, it is introduced in item set 1. Okay, in item set 1, where dollar is there. So in item set 1, where dollar is there, so we have to simply write it as ACC. ACC is called as accept. Now, we'll go for item set 2 now. So we'll see whether go to is there for any protection here. So go to for item set 2, you have star. Star is a terminal. So it goes to item set 7. So item set 2 does not have any non-terminals there. Only a terminal go to has been identified. It goes to I7. So in item set 2 where star is there, so it goes to I7, simply write it as S7. Now, in item set 2, check it out whether there is any protection which is at the end of where dot is at the end. So in item set 2, we have a protection where dot is at the end. This protection is having dot at the end. So now what we are going to do is we have to find the follow for E. Follow for E is actually plus close brackets and dollar. So and follow for this E tends to T is actually protection number 2. So protection number 2. It is protection number 2. So you can see here, this is E tends to T is actually protection number 2. So since it is protection number 2, so we write it as R2 in the respective columns. So in wherever follow is there for E, follow for E is plus, we write it as R2. R2 means it is called as reduce. And close brackets, we write R2, and dollar, we write R2. So on and so forth. And in item set 3, we check it out whether there is any go-tos for item set 3. In item set 3, we don't have any go-tos for terminal or non-terminal. But in item set 3, we have a protection. Where T is at the end. T tends to F dot. So we have to find the follow for T. And T tends to F dot is protection number 4. T tends to F dot is protection number 4. So we go for, we have to write it as R4 in follow of T. Follow of T in item set 3 is plus, we write it as R4, and in star we write it as R4, and close brackets we write it as R4, and then a dollar we write it as R4. So on and so forth. Okay. Now we will go for item set 5. Item set 4. Item set 4, we see here whether we have, yes, item set 4 have T non-terminal, F non-terminal, and item set 4 we also have E here. There is another non-terminal here. So it goes to 8 and I8, it goes to I2 and it goes to I3. So E goes to I8, so we write it as 8. We write it as 8, and T goes to I2, so we write it as 2, and F goes for 3, so we write it as I3. We write it as 3. Now when you go for terminals in I4 has a terminal called as open brackets, so it goes to I4, and I4 ID goes for I5. So we have two terminals, open brackets and ID. So in I4, where open brackets is here, we write it as, it goes to I4, so we are writing it as S4, and for ID we are writing it as S5. And when we come to item set 5, we see that there is not any protection where we have go-tos here, but we have a protection where dot is at the end. So we have to find the follow for F. Follow for F is plus, star, close brackets and dollar, and F tends to ID is protection number 6. It is protection number 6. So in follow for F, okay, we have to write R6. So in item set 5, we write it as R6 in plus, R6 in star, R6 in close brackets, and R6 in dollar. Now we'll go for item set 6. item set 6. Item set 6, go to of item set 6 has F here. F is a non-terminal, and we have item set 6 have open brackets. Item 6 have ID. So these two are terminals. It goes to I4, we have to write it as S4 in open brackets, and ID it goes to I5, we have to write it as S5, so on and so forth. So in I6 also have a protection called as T, which is a non-terminal. It goes to I9. So in I6 we are writing it as, for T it goes to I9, so I am writing it as 9. For F it goes to I3, so I am writing it as 3. And I6 comma open brackets goes to I4, so I write it as S4 here. And for I6 comma ID goes to I5, so I write it as S5. And when we go for item set 7, we see here in item set 7 there are open brackets and IDE, so it goes to I4 and it goes to I5. And item set 7 should have a non-terminal called as F. It goes to I10. So a non-terminal, it goes to I10, we write it as 10. And so I7 comma open brackets goes to I4, so write it as S4. And I7 comma ID goes to S5, so I write it as S5 here. And I7 comma F goes to item set 10, so I simply write it as 10 since it's a non-terminal. Now we'll go for item set 8. Item set 8. So item set 8 has close brackets here. It goes to I11. It has close brackets. It goes to I11 now. And item set 8 also have plus here. It is a terminal. It goes to I6. So we go here in item set 8. Item set 8 for go to of I8 comma plus. Go to of I8 comma plus go to I6. So I write it as S6 in 8. And go to of I8 comma close brackets is written as S11. It goes to I11, so written as S11. And we go for item set 9. So item set 9 has only one go to here, which goes to star here, so it goes to I7. So since it's a terminal, I simply write it as ES7. Okay. And item set 9 have a protection where dot is at the end, so we can see here. So dot is at the end here, we can see here. The dot is at the end, E tends to E plus T. Okay. So this is protection number 1. So E tends to E plus T is actually protection number 1. It's here. D tends to E plus T is protection number 1. So we have to find the follow for E, and wherever follow for E sepals are there, we have to write it as R1 since this is protection number 1. So follow for E is, we have plus, it is R1, and we have close brackets, so we write it as R1 here, and we have dollar also as follow, so we write it as R1. Now coming to item set 10. So in item set 10, there is not any protections where go to is there. So only one protection where dot is at the end. So item set 10 is here. So T tends to T star F. T tends to T star F is actually protection number 3. It is protection number 3. So we have to write R3 in follow for T in item set 10. So now see here. In item set 10, we are writing R3 in plus star, R3 in close brackets, and R3 in dollar. So these are the follow sets for T here. And finally, we'll go for item set 11. Item set 11 has only one item set called as F tends to E dot. So this is actually protection number 5. This is protection number 5 in the original protection. So we will write here as follow for pluses R5, follow for F is star, that is R5, and follow for F is close brackets, and similarly we have dollar also. So this is a way of actually filling the table. Now we'll go for the parsing technique. So I have taken a valid string called as id tends to id star id dollar. So we'll start from the initial canonical set, that is I0. So 0 comma id is actually S5. So we can just go to the table here. 0 comma id is S5. 0 comma id is S5. So shift 5. If it is shift action, what you have to do is we have to push one element from the input to the stack. So that means id is actually pushed inside the stack, and then we have to push the corresponding number. The corresponding number is actually 5. Shift to 5. So 5 should be pushed inside the stack. So the stack will become 0 id 5. Now star is actually on the right side, 5 is on the left side. Okay. So 5 comma star. So 5 comma star is actually R6. So we can go to the table. So 5 comma 5 is here and star is here. 5 comma star is actually R6. So R6 is production called as F tends to IDE. When it is reduced to production, you see what is the right side of the production. Right side of the production, you have only one element called as ID. If it is one element, you have to pop two elements from the stack. And then what? So two elements, what will go off? 5 will go off and ID will go off. So now only 0 remains. Now we have to push this F inside the left side of the non-terminal, has to be pushed inside the stack, and then you have to see 0 comma F. So 0 comma F. So 0 comma F. 0 comma F is actually 3. So 3 should be pushed inside the stack. So 3 has been pushed inside the stack. Now 3 is on the left side, star is on the right side. 3 comma star is actually R4. So 3 comma star, 3 and star is here. So it is R4. So now it is R4. R4 means T tends to F. F has only one side or only one element on the right side. So two elements we have to pop from the stack. So when you pop two elements, what will go off? This F and 3. This F and 3 will go off. So only 0 remains. Now you have to push the non-terminal inside the stack. The leftmost non-terminal inside the stack. So T is pushed inside the stack here. T is actually pushed inside the stack. Then 0 comma T. 0 comma T, look into the table. So 0 comma T is actually 2. 0 comma 2 is actually T is 2. So 2 has to be pushed inside the stack. So that's what 2 has been pushed inside the stack. Now 2 comma star. 2 comma star is actually shift 7. That is S7. So 2 is here and star is here. So it is S7. So S7 has been, S7 means if it is shift action, push the element inside the stack. Push one element inside the stack. So star will be pushed inside the stack. So star is pushed now. Then the corresponding number is pushed. So 7 is also pushed inside the stack. 7 is also pushed inside the stack. Now 7 is on the left side, ID is on the right side. So 7 comma ID is actually called as shift 5. So go to the table. 7 and ID is here. It is shift 5, S5. So if it is shift action, again push element, one element from the input to stack. So ID is pushed inside the stack now. Then push the corresponding number. So 5 is actually pushed inside the stack. So 5 has been pushed now. Now 5 is on the left side, dollar is on the right side. Okay. Now 5 comma dollar results in R6. So 5 is here and ID is here. 5 is here and ID is here. So 5 comma dollar. Sorry. 5 is here and dollar is here. It is R6. So production number 6. So R6 is F tends to IDE. So ID has F tends to ID has one element on the right. So pop two elements from the stack. So what will go off? So ID and F goes off. These two elements goes off. And up to 7 it remains. Now what you have to do? Push the leftmost non-terminal inside the stack. So F is pushed inside the stack. Then you see 7 comma F. 7 comma F in the table. So 7 comma F is here. 7 and comma F is actually 10. So 10 should be pushed inside the stack. So now 10 is actually pushed inside the stack. Now 10 is on the left side, dollar is on the right side. So 10 comma dollar in the table. So 10 comma dollar in the table is R3. So 10 is here and dollar is here. Dollar is, we have R3. So R3 means T tends to T star F is the production. So we have 3 elements on the right side of the production. If you have 3 elements on the right side of the production, then pop 6 elements from the stack. So what will go off? So 10 will go off, F will go off, 7 will go off, star will go off, 2 will go off, and T will go off. So up to this portion, everything goes off. Up to this, everything goes off. So what will be remaining? 0 will be remaining. Then push the leftmost non-terminal inside the stack. So T is the leftmost non-terminal. So that has been pushed inside the stack. Now see 0 comma T in the table. So 0 comma T, 0 is here, T is here. 0 comma T is actually 2. Now push 2 inside the stack. So 2 comma dollar. 2 comma dollar is R2 in the table. So R2, 2 comma dollar is here. 2 is here. Dollar is here. So dollar is R2 here. R2. Now R2 is E tends to T. T has only one element on the right side. So pop 2 elements from the stack. So what will go off? So 2 and T. These 2 and T will go off. So what remains? 0 remains. And then push the leftmost non-terminal inside the stack. So E will be pushed inside the stack now. Now see 0 comma E. So 0 is here in the table and E is here in the table. Now you have 1. So 1 should be pushed inside the stack. 1 is pushed inside the stack, and on the right side you have dollar. So 1 comma dollar, see in the table. So 1 comma dollar is accepted. It is accepted. It is accepted. So once it is accepted, then that is the end of the parsing technique. So thanks for watching the video. Have a good day.